Mongolia is one of the few countries in our globalized and increasingly equal planet to ride on the back of a horse without any limit.
In 2005, Mila and I traveled to northern Mongolia on the back of her brave little horses, accompanied by our translator Chuka and our guide Dasha. From Lake Khovsgol to the Ulan Mountains in the eastern taiga, home of the reindeer herders, the Tsaatan.
18 years later, in 2023, we have returned to the re-encounter with the Darkat and the Tsaatan, but this time accompanied by our two daughters, Uxue, 12 years old, and Garazi, 9 years old.
After a few days of paperwork, shopping and sightseeing in the capital of Ulaanbaatar, as we showed in Chapter 1, we took a flight to the town of Moron, the administrative center of Khovsgol province.
From the air, we began to enjoy the vast and lonely spaces of Mongolia. And finally, we see from the window the small town of Moron. A small administrative center is surrounded, as in Ulaanbaatar, by square plots of land with a house inside each plot. 18 years ago, these small houses were simple ger. Little else seems to have changed in Murom.
Aza, an English teacher at a school in Moron, came to meet us. In the summer, she works as a guide and interpreter. In our case, she has acted as a link between us and the horse guides, since she cannot accompany us during an expedition as long as the one we are planning to carry out, between 22 and 24 days.
Moron is the capital and administrative center of the province of Khovsgol, with a population of about 42,000 inhabitants. The center is composed of a typical Soviet-style square, like most of the buildings. It has a hospital, museum, theater, post office, 9 schools and 15 kindergartens, a small modernized thermal power plant of 34 megawatts. Most of the population lives in the suburbs. Since 2014, it is connected to Ulaanbaatar by a 900-kilometer paved road that takes 10 to 12 hours to drive.
Today, 90% of the cars are Toyota Prius. Although you can still see the old Russian UAZ all-terrain vehicles, which 18 years ago were the kings on unpaved tracks in Mongolia.
After a good breakfast, we start to prepare the expedition. First task, buy food for the first stage of the expedition that will last between 5 and 6 days. The cheapest is to go to the local market.
And what we can't miss are the sweets. We should even buy waterproof boots and ponchos, because the current summer is being very rainy.
In the afternoon, we set out to travel to Khovsgol via a paved road about 100 km north in 2 hours by car just half the time it took us 18 years ago when there were no roads. Khovsgol is the starting point of our trip on horseback.
Khovsgol is a village located at the southern end of Khovsgol Lake. It has an old port, as it formerly specialized in the transport of crude oil products from Russia to Mongolia, in summer by ships and in winter by land means over the frozen lake. It has a structure similar to the Ger districts of Ulaanbaatar. In 2008, Khovsgol was connected to Mongolia's central electricity grid and cell phone services, although currently there is still no running water in the houses. Its nearly 3,700 inhabitants must go down to the lake to collect water in jerry cans. Currently, the tourism industry is the main economic sector because visitors pass through Khovsgol to the resorts located on the shores of Lake Khovsgol. Many of these houses are summer residences of Ulaanbaatar residents.
We spent the night in one of these houses before setting out on our journey on horseback.
Okela mozten ari gara, egozteko, okela pregiduta eramango dugu, ja pregiduta horrela egun gehiago konserbatzen.
The first 3 days of our trip run along the western shore of Lake Khovsgol, from Khovsgol to the plain called Jiglegin Am. On August 5th at 8 a.m., Mama and Bata arrive with their 9 horses after a 2-day journey from their remote homes in Sanganur.
After the introductions, they begin to load the luggage on their 3 pack horses that we will carry with us for the next 22 days.
An hour and a half later, we are ready to start our trip. The sky covers and the rain begins soon after we start. But we don't stop. We wear the ponchos and go ahead.
We even have to cook and eat in the rain. Rain is nothing to fear for our guides Mama and Bata.
In the early afternoon, we arrived at the shore of Lake Khovsgol. It is a bit disappointing. In 2005, this road did not exist.
Nor did all these tourist camps exist.
After 25 kilometers and almost 7 hours of riding, enough for the first day, we look for a good place to camp and prepare dinner in this forested area of pines and larches.
While Uxue and me have been assigned the job of water provision from the lake, The sunset leaves us images as beautiful as these. From today, this will be the daily routine.
As soon as we have loaded the horses, we continue along the shore of Lake Khovsgol, alternating with forest areas, for 2 consecutive days, August 6th and 7th.
August 6th is a cloudy day, but at least it's not raining.
The first kilometers we ride near the road and the tourist accommodations. Luckily, we soon left the last settlements behind.
The road ends, and the real natural landscape begins.
At 5 p.m., we finish the second day after riding about 25 kilometers. Rain is threatening. Bata and Mama take care of the horses and we set up the 2 tents.
Bata and Mama are experts at making fire, something Garazi and I want to learn. But our job is again to collect water from Khovsgol Lake. We use the opportunity to play a little.
We have 2 tents with us, the green one for our family and the grey-pink one for Bata and Mama.
On the 3rd day, we are blessed with a beautiful sunny day to ride close to the shore and away from the tourist camps.
Lake Khovsgol is located in northwestern Mongolia at the foot of the eastern Tsaatan mountains. The northern end of Lake Khovsgol is 15 kilometers from the Mongolian border with Siberia, Russia. It is the 2nd largest freshwater lake in Asia after Lake Baikal in Siberia and contains 70% of Mongolia's freshwater and 1% of the world's freshwater. The water is drinkable and very clear. It is at an altitude of 1,145 meters above sea level. It has a length of 136 kilometers, a maximum width of 36 kilometers, and a maximum depth of 262 meters. The national park that protects the lake is even larger than Yellowstone.
Tenemos fuerza aquí. Venga.
We have called it Ferminzo, the loose pack horse, who often goes off on its own and needs to be corrected.
Cho! Cho! Cho!
Opa! Eh? 자. Woo! Wow!
While the lake is to our right, east, to our left, west, rises the Horridal Saridag mountain range for about 30-40 kilometers, whose slopes are covered with pine and larch forests, covered with a green that stands out under the dark and threatening clouds.
Take a look at this group of free horses.
The clouds also offer beautiful images over the calm lake.
After a beautiful day but exhausted, Bata and Mama look for a good place to camp.
Ya está, el lugar A.
A place where Mila and I had already camped in 2005, near the house of the man who was our guide on that trip. Now nobody lives here. Where will Dasha live now? Will he still be alive?
Again, Garazi and I have to collect water. It is our daily task. The sun goes down, and it seems that soon the rain will come to us. It's time to go to bed. We'll continue the adventure in Chapter 3. Don't miss it.